Bonsoir les causeurs, this is Llyane Stanfield, and tonight I am hoping that you are back home from Christmas shopping. I know most of you do, or you use today as for a shopping day, and by now I hope that you're home, and tonight's video helps you find out how long it takes you to get to listen better to the French when they're speaking. I know, and please tell me in the comments below if you recognize that. I know that from you that there is a big frustration when you listen to the French, you don't quite understand each word, and the words seem like they're linked together. The entire sentence feels like a long word, and it's hard to listen. And so if that's the case, then what do we do to hear better? Because when we have a conversation, it's not enough to have a conversation starter. You know how to start the conversation maybe, but when the French is answering back to you, you need to understand exactly what they said so that you know what to answer back to them. So a lot of people are asking me how long it takes me to get to actually hear the French, and why am I not hearing it? Why am I able to read it, but I'm not able to hear it? And the answer to the question, how long is it gonna take me, is it depends. Everybody is different, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what happens in the ear and how we get to actually to hear different new sounds in anything, not just French. And so there are these terms that I keep, and you may have seen on my website, ear training, ear gymnastics. And so those are techniques that I use to help people hear faster. And here is what happens in the ear. You may be familiar with the fact that in our body we develop fat cells. So when we get to gain weight at a certain point in our life, the first time we're gaining that weight, it takes a little longer. And it takes a little longer because the body is actually creating the fat cells, so that those are like the placeholder for the fat, and so then the fat cells start to be filled with the fat. Now, when we lose that weight, the fat cells get emptied of the fat, but the cells remain. So once the body creates, our fat cells, we live with them, and this is the reason why the second time or the third time when we gain weight, it is faster. It's easier for us to gain weight the second, third time, but the first time it takes a while until we actually see the effects of the gaining of the weight, of the whatever it is that we eat. Why am I talking about fat cells in French and listening? Because the exact same process, exact same physiological phenomena is actually happening in our ear. So it is said, it's scientifically proven that people who have not been exposed to symphonic music, the first time they will listen to it, they will not hear everything. They won't be able to hear the entire spectrum of the sounds, just because symphonic music is the most complex, has most of the sounds of the spectrum of the sounds. The other music types of music are a little lighter, and so they will not have the entire spectrum of the sounds. What does that mean? This means that every single time that our ear is exposed to a new sound, it takes time to the body to actually grow receptacles for that sound. Meaning, it's not enough for us to be to have a musical ear in order for us to be able to speak well or to listen well to a language. I know a lot of people who are musicians who do have trouble with languages, to hear languages and to reproduce a language, because the moment you hear it well, then with practice you can actually reproduce the sound, and so you can sound like a French, the way they speak. So these receptacles are literally physical receptacles that are growing in our ear, and so it takes time for those receptacles to grow in order to perceive, in order to become sensitive to that particular sound and to transfer it into the sound in our brain. So this is the reason why you shouldn't be frustrated by the fact that you need to repeat over and over and over again. Unless we repeat over and over and over again, we don't give to our ear enough information to build those receptacles. And so that means that we limit ourselves to hearing the sound and also to producing the sound. It's hard to produce something that we don't hear. So this is another reason why you should repeat, or you should use French. You should practice French as little as you need to or as you can, but every single day, so that your ear gets educated. And this is what ear training means. The ear training can be different, and can be different types of techniques that can be used. Ear gymnastics is what I call when using specific techniques in order to develop specific sensitivity to a specific sound that you might have a problem with. So this is the reason why pronunciation, which is again, well, hearing and reproducing, cannot be learned on your own easily. I mean, it's taking a lot of time on your own. And when someone helps you with techniques and with a certain sequence of sounds repeated in a certain sequence in a number of times, that is how you can actually get your ear used to the sound. And so first it's going to hear it, and then you're going to be able to reproduce. So unless you hear the difference between wrong and right, you can't actually create the right sound. I'm not talking about people who or the situations where you just fall onto the pitch of the sound and that's that. Well, that's that. We're not fixing what's not broken, but when there is a particular difficulty of sounds, or even what I said at the beginning of the video, these like words, they seem to be like smooshed together at the beginning. And for the intermediate, there may be different specific sounds, not necessarily all the words, because once you become knowledgeable of the words, then you kind of know what to expect with the context and everything. But still, the ear needs to be trained, and ear gymnastics, it's what helps you get there. So I hope that this video helps you beat yourself up a little less. It's not about, oh, I'm never going to get to doing this. It's not about, why am I not there already? Because I've been doing this for so long. Nobody can ever decide whether you should do it in such or such amount of time. We only can observe what the body in the ear in this situation, it's actually how it's responding and what it needs from you in order to help the process happen faster. So don't beat yourself up for not being able to hear sounds in French. Don't beat yourself up for not being at a certain level because you thought that you should be by now. Do the daily practice, even if it's about like a minute I'm posting those 1 minute and 1 minute and a half videos that are specifically created this small, because if you don't have time one day, at least you expose your ear for the ear training that day, at least 1 minute. And every single time you're listening to anything French, please speak out loud, speak along, because if you speak along, then you involve the ear, external, internal, and so the ear training and ear gymnastics actually happen, and you're going to be able to hear faster, and the faster you hear, the faster you'll be able to produce that exact sound. This is also the explanation for the reason why are we not hearing our own mistakes at the beginning. Why do I have to tell you, oh, you said this wrong here? Why did you not hear it, right? Because the ear needs a specific number of repeats. For each sound is different too, and each person is different, but a specific number of repeats until it grows those receptacles so you can hear. So I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you be less frustrated with the process of learning French and getting to making conversation. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and to seeing your questions, and to seeing you in the contest and to see you win. Stay on your game and keep going for your dream to become bilingual. Immerse yourself in the French language and break your language barrier. Merci beaucoup et bonne semaine. Au revoir.